Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get the meeting started. Thank you for the delay. We were trying to get live on Facebook and also to make sure we have a quorum. My name is Becky Tuttle, and it's my privilege and honor to serve as City Council member representing District 2. This is the City of Wichita District 2 Advisory Board meeting on Monday, May 8th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. We do have members virtual and in person. So the first thing that we will do is go ahead and introduce all the district board advisory board members. And I will start with 3 of our members who are online. So Jennifer, if you want to go ahead and kick it off. And we always start by your name, which neighborhood you represent, and your favorite thing about Wichita. And you can't say what somebody else has said. So Jennifer, good evening. And thank you for being here. We'll look forward to hearing from you.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Okay, I'm on 2 devices, so I wanted to make sure you could hear me. I'm Jennifer McDonald. I represent Dublin Court, and my favorite thing about Wichita right now is the weather. It's gorgeous. It feels like summer. I'm loving it.
Thank you, Jennifer. Roman?
Yes, Roman Rodriguez. I live in the Sycamore Village, Waterford Edition. And I would have to say that my favorite thing about Wichita, I said it a couple months ago at our meeting, and I'll repeat it again. We have some amazing healthcare facilities and workers, doctors, nurses, and when you need to use them for something, it's really great to have such expert care here in our area. And so just a huge thank you to all of our healthcare workers because we have some amazing folks here.
Alicia?
Good evening, everyone. Alicia Sanchez, also in Sycamore Village. My favorite thing in Wichita is our Open Street ICT events that are all across the city. And this past weekend, the one in Nomar, it's just great to see all of our community come together for health, wellness, and celebrating the community.
Thank you. John, go this way.
John Baker, I live in Pine Meadows, and I like the Red Bud Trails.
Tim Johnson, I represent Willaman, and I would like to celebrate the success that we're seeing from the Wichita State University softball team.
My name is Faith Martin. I represent the East Ridge Neighborhood Association, and shout out to Wichita Public Libraries. Got to experience downtown library, and tonight I get to meet this library, so I love our Wichita Public Library very much.
I'm Sam Lindeman, and I represent Bonnie Gray neighborhood. And I think what I like most about Wichita is just the people in general that live here. I mean, when you travel around some, you realize how lucky we really are.
Last but not least.
My name is Corey Buckta. I'm the community service representative for District 2, so I'm not on the advisory board. And my favorite thing is all of the classes and programs in the Evolve Guide, because there is something to do for everyone. For example, on Sunday, I play in the co-ed adult kickball league, I'm proud to say, and there's so many fun things to do that Parks and Rec offers.
I am Bruce Gass. I'm a member of Chisholm Creek Homeowners Association. And I had the privilege of waiting about 20 minutes for a train just the other day. And I realized that the railroad is providing for us a rolling art museum. And I really enjoyed trying to figure out the words and the colors. And that's my favorite thing about Wichita tonight.
Thank you. I know we have a packed agenda, but I am going to take a point of personal privilege. Back in January of 2019, I was appointed to be on City Council until the last year term. And the same time that I was appointed, I found that we had a brand new community service representative. And I thought, well, this will be a fun adventure for us to do together. So for about the last 4 years, Corey and I have served as a team. He's represented District 2 very well as District 5. And I am sad to say that Corey, this is probably your last meeting with us as community service representative. Corey is moving on to bigger and better things in our communications department. Would you like to tell him? Yes, stay with the city, or I would be in tears right now.
Yes.
Yes.
I am joining the communications team. So staying with the city, staying in the city manager's office, just slightly different role.
I can tell you how much I appreciate Corey and all of his hard work and dedication. We have a lot of fun together. We get frustrated together, but we work well together. So Corey, I want to thank you for everything you've done. Yeah.
you ever have any trouble with the city's website, just call you.
Okay, we don't go
That's right.
Things we don't know. Okay, we'll proceed on with the agenda. Thank you for the opportunity to thank Corey. Next, we have approval of the agenda for May 8th, 2023. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Anyone second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Fantastic. Next is approval of the minutes for April 10th, 2023. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll move.
Thank you, Bruce. Is there a second? Faith? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Anyone have to abstain? Oh, anyone say nay? Anyone have to abstain because they did not attend?
I will abstain.
Thank you.
Roman Rodriguez.
All right, motion passes. Next, we will go to public agenda. Is there anyone here this evening to speak to an item that isn't on the agenda? All right, we will proceed right into staff reports. Fire?
Neither.
Okay, we'll get a report maybe and send it out to district advisory board members included in the minutes. Is that good? Police? Stop police.
Hello.
So
So I'm
make
gonna-
sure you introduce yourself and your favorite thing about Wichita.
If I stand right here, nobody online can see. Do you want me to come up front?
I do, we do. Yes, Jennifer saying yes. Come up.
There we go. So no one's behind me. Hello, everyone online. My name's Thomas Gridling. I work at Control North. I am a community coordinator or a beat coordinator. I've newly been added to 4060, which is around the Rock Road, 21st Street area, temporarily on there. My other beat is over by Westlake Hospital, which is in down one. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about other districts.
They're not as good as we are.
Well,
Sorry, just kidding. just kidding.
I will abstain from any comments. No. So somebody mentioned online, I can't remember which one it was, the open streets. I absolutely love that. The problem that I see is Deb 1 has an open streets for ICT, open streets Wichita, or WSU or Shocker neighborhood. Deb 6 has one for Nomar. And the main one in September runs right along Douglas, but it stops before it gets to Deb 2. I'm a little concerned about, where's Deb 2's, we could run up and down Greenwich maybe, or, I don't know, we could find something. I just think Deb 2 needs to get one too, because I have a good time at those events, except for right here on this leg. Is sunburnt very badly. I wasn't a golf cart this time, and that one leg stuck out too much. So, Patrol East asked me to mention a few things for them. They have their golf tournament coming up, June 9. I know they've talked about it before. There is a QR code here. They desperately need golfers. Okay, this is not for the police to go golfing. This is for anybody. We would love to have more people out there golfing with us. I did actually sign up to golf. I golfed in college. I'm an amazing golfer, I promise. I don't know if you guys online can hear my sarcasm. I am not a good golfer, but I love doing it. So some of the crime stats that we have going on. For violent crime that's occurred on Deb 2, we are up 41%.
Can you say more so from what?
Yeah, and I'll try to go over some of these. Luckily, no homicides. We'll start with that. So I know we've had a few aggravated robberies that have occurred. It looks like the majority of those are happening at apartment complexes. I'm looking at the addresses for these. There's 5 of them at apartment complexes. So that, the higher the crime rate, the more people you have in a small area, unfortunately. The one that I'm actually more excited about, and so is Patrol East. They've been doing this the last 3 months. They have been doing trying to figure out the name of what they call it. Basically, they're shoplifting. Wichita, Kansas is actually one of the highest places in the nation for shoplifting. I do know that 2 of our locations, Cabela's and Academy Sports, are the #1 in the country for shop pros. So that's not exactly the numbers we wanted. We'd rather be #1 for the lowest. I will tell you, these are great numbers. It doesn't seem like much, but 6% decrease in shoplifts, thanks to all the work that they've put in. I will throw out Casey Richwine, Officer Richwine has been doing a lot with this. I do know the Patrol East team has been working very hard on this. So Lieutenant Henderson, who is the community police officer, who's the lieutenant of their unit, they had 37 new cases. They arrested 39 people. They had 26 misdemeanor arrests, 17 felony arrests. They cleared 28 misdemeanor warrants, 11 felony warrants. They impounded 3 different vehicles off of all of those stops. They recovered about $67,000 worth of products, including a very large recovery at Alta Beauty there on Kellogg and Rock Road. As of May 3rd, they had a Patrol East shoplifts were 76% of those numbers, but that is a 20% decrease for this year over last year, and a 60%. I'm sorry, and 60% of those shoplifts over 5-year period, which is a 9% decrease. So they have they've done some great work over there. Unfortunately, I've been doing a lot with that one with we had some more violent crimes going on. We've also dealt with a incident where we had multiple people charged with aggravated robbery or aggravated kidnapping, I'm sorry. And we ended up finding 3 of those 4 suspects on that one. We do have warrants out for the other suspect and possibly a few more in the house. And so that's what we've been working on.
Where's that at?
That is going to be over in Deck 6 area. That is also part of Patrol North, of where I'm from. We go pretty much everything north of Central. We go to Deck 6, Deck 1, and part of Deck 2. So we're kind of spread over all the way across Wichita. So it's kind of, unfortunately, a lot of our numbers, we kind of go between all of those. Really, a lot that's going on in Deck 6 area is those shoplifts, because along Rock Road, that's the majority of the crime that's occurring there. So I apologize, I don't have a whole lot more with that. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Any questions from the district advisory board members? Thank you for your service.
The only thing I'd like to know is, what is that?
This-
The dome on top.
This is my baton, my expandable baton.
Expandable? Okay.
Or, as some of you in this room would know, I don't mean to scare you kids, but the Bob Barker microphone.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Most people don't know that.
Thank you for coming. I don't see anyone from Park and Rec, do you? And John's not here online.
So Park and Rec and Library emailed me their reports ahead of time, and I forward those off to the staff.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Next, where is Gary? He wasn't on. Not Gary, sorry, Paul.
I'm Paul Councilman, I'm the interim city engineer.
You have to say your favorite thing about Wichita.
Favorite thing about Wichita
You
is
can't say the streets. No, just kidding.
it's the various places to eat. In 2020, my wife and I were gonna do 20 things, different things in 2020. However, pandemic put a stop to that, so now we're trying to build it 20, different places.
That's cool. I like that.
So, yeah.
Good job.
Okay, the public courts update this month, projects that we have under construction, the 29th Street and Greenwich traffic signal. Up here, Stryker, we have a temporary signal that will be activated mid-May. We have poles up. So that'll be activated this month.
And if I can just add, kudos to Public Works for really expediting this project because we have the soccer tournament here this summer with a couple thousand tournament players and families, and it'll really activate that area. We want to make sure that we provide such safety as we can, so having that temporary signal. So kudos to your team for making that happen fast.
We have some pavement preservation going on throughout the city. District 2, Webb Road, down Pawnee, Harry, on either side of those intersections. in progress now. So that's one of the items, so working on that. We'll have some other retailers on Woodlawn, form that should begin later this month. And we also have some brick crosswalk repair that will be later this month. Will begin later this month. Part of that's 21st Street, K96, Kellogg and Arnold, and Lincoln and Woodlawn. Projects that we have upcoming under design, red bus path between Woodlawn and K96. And the gap, we have just gone through staff screening and selection, hire a consultant to do that work. Finish will be doing that work, and we are anticipating going to city council for the design contract here in a couple weeks. And then we are Wichita Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, we did apply for the carbon reduction program grant.
If I can just interrupt with, there's about 30 miles of Red Bud Trail that I know John loves so much, and just that part between Woodlawn and K96 is done. And part of that was some issues, so the Sedgwick County Commissioner, Meister, and I have been coordinating together, so hopefully we'll be able to see that safety is a paramount issue.
It is.
Across rocks, web,
I think great.
great.
Yeah, we will look at across those. Other than that, great house. So we tapped that. Another project that we'll have upcoming is 143rd Street, south of Kellogg and Perry. Garber was selected for that. It's on the same timeline. We will go on the county council, to city council, May 23rd. We asked them to look at that, see if the 3 or 5 lane roadway is needed. And also improve the intersection area. Regarding some all district updates, the multi-modal facility that is being constructed just west of Riverfront Stadium. I just heard back from the design team today. We are anticipating 90% plans completed by mid-June. We'll give comments back on that, and they'll take 2 months to finish finalizing. We will anticipating starting construction late summer or early fall. Put that up a bit. We are working, we have the 60% plans, they're a little bit over the estimate that we had, so we've been working, getting that back into it. We are there now, we will see what the 90% plans and estimate, see where we are on that. Again, we had submitted for some grants for electric vehicle charging stations in the facilities, so they would be successful on. And then I'll highlight the K96 project, the KDOT project that will expand K96 from I-135 east to 21st Street. From 4-lane freeway to 6-lane freeway, and then they would replace the pavement, south of 21st Street down to where the new East Kellogg project is tied. It's designed only right now. KDOT's leading the charge on that. We're involved with the arterial streets, this side, Oliver, Woodlawn Block. Pretty much 21st, we'll have some improvements, so we'll work closely with KDOT on that. There is not construction funding identified yet, however, KDOT in the program.
And you attended the meeting last week, I'm sorry, I couldn't be there, but we probably won't have to move the fire station yet, but I think it's 6.
We are working with, yes, we'll return back to the district advisory board right back to the fire station. So,
We try not to do the footprint as well.
and then K96 or Kellogg, the next project in the east, K96 to a half mile east of 159th Street. Trans systems was selected for that work. And KDOT's leading the charge. So we have a meeting Wednesday to talk about that. Right there in that recess. Expecting to start, new construction. And the last project, we talked about the KDOT North Junction. Going on at the end of the month with a northbound flyover, the westbound, will be opening the traffic. That will be the plan.
We're gonna do
Yes, it does. So,
ribbon cutting on
Ribbon
May
cutting.
31st,
Yes.
so I'm excited to cut some ribbon.
Make the lines and turn it loose.
that will be exciting stuff that's happening. That's what I have. Yes.
Just a couple questions. So, I see on the brick crosswalk repair, if there are crosswalks that need repair prior to this, how does one, you know, I noticed at Kellogg and Woodlawn, there are big chunks coming up that aren't. It's been very recent that we've just started noticing those coming out in that brick crosswalk. I don't know if you guys want, it's eastbound on Frontage Road. But I wasn't, I just noticed it here, otherwise we would have reported earlier, but it's been pretty recent.
Okay, I'll pass that on to you.
And then on the electric vehicle infrastructure, is that gonna be like Evergy trickle chargers? Is that gonna be like superchargers, like what, for all cars, or like when you go to El Dorado, there's 2 different infrastructures?
We are looking at, we haven't identified which type yet. There's some charge point, they have level 1, level 2 charge. We won't be doing fast charge.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
So within our Waveland region, we have 6 electric charging stations right now, and Waveland has started electric vehicles.
Thank you.
Anything for Paul? Paul, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for
Sorry.
serving as interim city engineer. You're doing a fantastic job.
Good job, spend that
You're
money.
doing a great job.
Thank you.
Is Elizabeth?
She is, yeah.
She's up there. Oh, thanks, Paul. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us. Elizabeth and I were just together at the Walters Ridge Library.
Yes, we're
Presentation
going
for
to
us.
all the
Yeah.
libraries.
What was
Where
it
is the
called?
best place for us to go?
About right where you are.
Okay, so.
So you can see up there, we have 3 district advisory board members on this line. So use your outside voice.
Yeah, and I will, it looks like you all have a pretty full agenda tonight, judging by the size of the rooms. I will try to move quickly, but I also reference some other presentations that we have online about the budget if you'd like to find out more.
So Elizabeth, please introduce yourself,
Yeah, I will.
where you work, and your favorite thing about Wichita.
Okay, my name's Elizabeth Goltry. I work in the finance department. My title is budget officer. Gosh, I guess I'm gonna say something from the citizen survey. Wichita is a place to live at its highest rating in the citizen survey in 2022. It's up quite a bit over prior years, and that resonates with me.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, let's get going, Corey. All right, so So just an introduction, I'm gonna provide some overall updated forecasts about the budget, about the operating budget and also our capital improvement program. Some of our public engagement strategies and a calendar for the upcoming budget season. Information about the budget, there's a QR code on that screen. It can take you to the page on the website. You can download that information. All of our budget books are available. The adopted budget for this year is available at all public library locations. And budget books back to the 1940s can be located in the local history section at the Advanced Learning Library downtown. So first I'm going to talk about the CIP. That's our capital improvement program. It's a 10-year program for things such as streets, buildings, parks, freeways, heavy equipment, and the like. The part of the CIP that's most visible to people is funded with the property taxes of 7 mills of that overall property tax levy. It's also funded by sales tax, and there's a variety of other sources like water and sewer utility fees that fund the water and sewer components of the CIP. The priority in the CIP is maintenance comes first, then replacement of existing assets such as the water treatment plant, and then expansion projects are the third highest priority in the CIP. Yes.
Quick question.
Yes.
What is the current value of that?
It's about 4.
Really? Thank you.
You're welcome. Street maintenance is a high priority in the CIP. There's $141 million in street maintenance funding, and I think that Paul went into some of that. That's for the road resurfacing projects that are occurring. I just saw a sign pop up somewhere. I was out and about. It's like, okay, it's the season, right?
Orange cones and cranes.
Yeah, it's the season. The CIP includes 61 street projects. There's also a lot of public safety projects in the CIP. One of those is a relocation of Patrol East. And then there's a lot of quality of life projects in the CIP. That includes the public art component of CIP projects, which we have a policy for, as well as quite a few park projects, more than usual in this CIP, which is exciting to see that happening. So how does the CIP get funded? I mentioned that briefly. There's a pie chart. As you see, the slice is the largest one. That's because a large upcoming project in the CIP is a sewer project, and that's the bionutrient removal project, which is just exciting for everyone, particularly residents of South Wichita, because not only will it meet compliance requirements for the EPA, it will make a big difference when it comes to odor. So your welcome to Wichita will be a little different if you're taking the south exit off the turnpike in the future. Next slide. So expenditures, the sewer matches the other slide because the sewer revenues fund sewer projects. Biggest slices there are beyond sewer, and then water is always a big one. Streets are always really large too, and freeways. And a lot of the freeway, all of the freeway projects that are in the CIP are, they're primarily funded by the state of Kansas, and we're matching their funding, which isn't something that happened as much as in the past, and we're really excited about that partnership with KDOT. Next one. So takeaways on the CIP. The CIP revenue sources are relatively stable. Interest rates do have an impact on the CIP. We issue debt for about a majority of our projects. So interest rates have an impact on the CIP, but inflation also has an impact on the CIP as far as bidding projects, project cost estimates and the like. So that's had an impact on the CIP when it comes to project timing. So the finance department and particularly engineering have been in close contact about the timing of those projects relative to the anticipated cost of them. So there'll be some adjustments in the CIP, but generally no big changes. So on to the operating budget. So the operating budget funds the day-to-day activities of the city of Wichita. The largest fund on the operating budget side is the general fund. It funds the activities that people are most interested in. Particularly, it even bears out in our citizen survey, things like police and fire, streets and building maintenance, and parks and libraries. The general fund needs to be balanced every year because it's an operating budget. And we do expect it to be balanced through 2024. But that's due to some pretty volatile revenue sources such as franchise fees and interest earnings. We're expecting long-term challenges beginning in 2025. You might have already heard about that. Next one. On the expenditure side is on the left. As you see, police is the biggest part of the general fund budget by far, followed by fire. Public works and utilities, this is the general fund part. There's also a large part in the water and sewer fund as well as stormwater. The general fund is 75% salaries and benefits. As its type of expenditure, it's a very service heavy fund for the city of Wichita. The budget includes about 3,200 positions. Most of them are in the general fund. Next slide. On the revenue side, property tax is the largest source of revenue in the general fund. That's where the other part of the property tax and levy is directed, in addition to the debt service fund. It might surprise you, franchise fees is the second largest source of revenue. It's a quite volatile source of revenue. It's impacted by weather, which impacts water usage and electricity usage in the summer. And then on the natural gas side, it's very much impacted by the cost of natural gas. Sales tax is the third largest source. The city of Wichita does not have a city sales tax. The county has there's a countywide penny sales tax, and there's a statewide allocation, and that is our part of that allocation. Next. So how do we build the budget? There's a lot of things that go into it. I won't go into all the details, but there's a resident engagement, employee feedback, city council priorities and the like. Let's see. So some of the challenges that we face, particularly as we look at 2025. So we're building the 2024 budget now, but we have a 5-year projection. And in fact, for many of our funds that are funded by the CIP, we go out 10 years. So we like to see what's ahead. Interest earnings and franchise fees are not reliable funding sources. If you want to know more, you can go look at our presentation from March 21st, sorry, I'm on the time travel, March 24th, to see more about the volatility of those revenue sources. The wild card on interest, interest earnings have been quite volatile. Other city revenue growth is slow, like motor vehicle tax, gas tax, those have been really quite slow growers. We have a lot of inflationary pressures that increase our city costs. While the first bullet point, those are things that go up and down, our inflationary pressures continue to climb. So those don't go up and down. Those are mostly in the salaries and benefits, which is 75% of the general fund. So what that means is that these challenges are structural. It means that they're baked into the structure of how the budget is built. They're not one-time challenges. These are ongoing challenges. One of our news stations covered the workshop on April 25th, and our slide, I think, just went out to 2027. So they were under the impression that we were only in balance until 2027. I'm like, that's just where the slide is. Like, it's structural, it keeps going. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, I wish. So that's what structural means. Next one, Corey. So this is our, see, there's the 2027. They're like, they're balanced until 2027. It's like, no, this is forever. So 2023, we're balanced. 24, we balanced with a little support from ARPA funding, which if you've been to DAB meetings before, you've been exposed to. Then we face a pretty significant deficit starting in 25, $15 million, and then it grows in out years. And that kind of growth in our deficit is pretty typical of what we've seen in budgets in the past. Normally, you might have seen, but the reason why we don't have this deficit in 2023 and 24 is because of franchise fees and interest earnings on the revenue side. Next slide. I'm fun. I'm a daisy leader. You can do this. So developing long-term solutions. So our immediate focus is we're not done with the budget yet. We are far from being done. It'll be presented in July. So looking at some things that can be implemented on a shorter time frame during this year's budget process. And so departments have been solicited for some feedback in order to better position the city for the future. And then later this year, in this fall, we'll be doing more in-depth engagement with stakeholders to develop concepts about the budget. And so I think I have a few slides. I'm gonna just touch on a few of them on the citizen survey. But looking at the citizen survey results to guide the budget development for 24 and 25, talking to stakeholders, employee groups and the like, and in order to work through this challenge together. Next one. So what does that stakeholder look like? I already said citizen survey, engagement. We'll have a budget simulator again. We did that in the past. We're gonna wait until later this year to roll that out. And then we'll do social media town hall then too. So if you were looking forward to social media town hall, you get a break, we'll do it later because that's when we really need to dive in. Next one, Corey. So developing that budget is, we're gonna do we're really into financials. We're gonna be doing a policy review that'll be presented later this month. Implementing process improvements and efficiencies. Those are just kind of like, what about this? What about that? You know, there's also just been a lot of changes in the last 3 years. And then some research and analysis. So we will be busy. Next slide. So our calendar, we've got a workshop coming up in a little over 2 weeks. The county clerk owes us our assessed valuation notice about property tax by mid-June. The budget will be presented on July 11th. And then in July 25th, we'll have an evening public hearing, which will be a time to all get together downtown at City Hall in the evening hours. Another public hearing on August 15th and August 22nd is budget adoption date. So lots of meetings, lots of opportunities to get involved this year. I have a slide deck about the resident survey, but I think I'm just gonna do this maybe the top takeaway, if that makes sense.
And if you go to wichita.gov/survey, it's all a handy dandy dashboard that's
It's
really easy to use
Yes.
and great survey
Yeah.
summaries
So-
of the survey.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna show you the first one, just so you see what it looks like. And just about the survey, we've been doing this as long as I've worked for the city of Wichita. It was one of my first projects. 5,000 households, the margin of error is ±4%. Next one. And one of the reasons why we enjoy using this survey company is that we're able to benchmark across with communities across the country, which is very helpful to know. There's some services, if you have a library that's not scoring in the top of your survey, that's unusual. Whereas there's other services that they're just really difficult services, like animal control or municipal courts. So it's good to have that benchmarking. Next one, Corey. So I'm just going to present the first insight and then I will leave you to the rest of your meeting. They presented 4 insights and Corey can share the slide deck too. Satisfaction with Wichita as a place to live is up, but fewer residents are satisfied with the direction that the city is headed. So this is an interesting juxtaposition of 2 concepts. So next slide here is Wichita is a place to live, and it's kind of hard to see how much of an increase this is. As a point of reference, 2018 was an unusually good survey administration for the city of Wichita, and in fact, we won an award from ICMA that year for community engagement, improvement in community engagement. That's a pretty significant increase from 2020 to 2022. I asked the company, I'm like, have you seen this? Because this is the first wave of surveys that are really happening post-COVID. And they said in most communities, it's actually going down. Like people stayed at home and they got less enamored with their community. So this is something significant. So that's pretty good. But then this next one is overall direction that Wichita is taking. So I mentioned 2018 as being a particularly strong survey administration. And this has declined since then. So we have 2 different things going on. People are happier with Wichita's place to live, but there's something about the future where Wichita is going that gives them pause. So when you go on the dashboard, you can drill down by council district, which is really interesting. They have data by income, ethnic group, race, there's a lot, there's 50 different questions on that survey dashboard. And then there's even more in the survey report. So I give you the tools to find the survey and I will turn it over and you have fun with the rest of the. Any questions for Elizabeth?
So I watched the April 25th meeting. There's a lot
Yeah.
of talk about like the reserve policy and
Yes.
revenue policy and the mill levy policy and yada, yada, yada. And next steps, how much citizen engagement will there be in developing all those policies?
Like the reserve policies?
Any of those policies?
Yeah, usually those, I would say, when developing those kind of financial policies, and some of them we already have a reserve policy, so it's just a matter of updating it. So I would say, it'll be presented to the city council, but most of those kind of policies are staff driven and driven by best practices.
And legal.
Yeah, legal matters, so, but of course, I mean, it's just, it's a work, yeah, it's a workshop, so no action will be taken at that time.
And let me know if you have any thoughts. and
Yeah,
I can
but-
certainly inject that. During the April workshop, I mentioned especially the reserve policy I'm interested in specifically because it impacts our credit score, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make sure that,
That's awesome.
we have a really strong policy because when we're looking at making cuts and we do have reserve, which is good, but we don't want, just like your home budget, you don't want to take everything out of your reserve in case something else happens. And so trying to figure out the balancing act of that will be
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah, so we hadn't planned on that being part of resident engagement, but.
Well, because I mean, when you talk about measuring resident engagement, I'd like to see goals on how to increase that because I think it's great that we're measuring it, but I don't see any like specifics on what are our goals, how we're gonna increase it, and if we're gonna do more than like social media. And I do like that you brought up that people like the simulator, but I think based on like how the chief was selected, like really in-depth, meet in the community, getting engaged with like more in-depth community engagement. That's really important. I think more than just social media town halls and simulators needs to be done when we're talking about something as important and as in-depth as a budget.
So
Yeah,
at point out, we have 5 town halls, we have 6 data
One at night.
presentations. We have, so there'll be presentations at 6 of the DABs. Will you come back to the DABs again, or is this the only? time?
Mark is coming to the work breakfast.
Yeah, and then everybody's breakfast is gonna have it. And then we'll do the social media town hall, we'll do the budget simulator. We have 4 workshops as council, an evening council presentation, and then the actual budget, and then the adoption.
Yeah,
budget. So we counted it up. I think there's almost 20 opportunities for community engagement at different levels. Could we ever do enough? Never, but we're trying.
yeah, it'll be a more involved process in the fall, winter, as we get ready for 2025. Just because we know that the deficit that we're facing is much more significant, and rather than, it's not a technical thing, it's a strategic thing. So
And then-
that will be a bit much different, much more, I mean, not different, but it'll be much more involved than this is in the summer. So we'll be doing research and analysis first and then doing that in the fall.
I appreciate it. I don't wanna take up much more time. It's
No.
hard to find things on the website sometimes. So even like if you say, hey, where's the RFP for the library? And like you can't find it and it's hard to, so sometimes just like throwing more data out for people to find might help people understand besides just like a social media town hall. So.
But call me anytime.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
No,
No,
but
that's
I
really,
do-
yeah,
I
no,
will
that's
say
really
to-
good. I mean, I
Yeah.
think to me, the DACs that we're doing right now and the other community meetings to me are foundational to the work we'll be doing this fall and winter. It's very important to me and I think very valuable to, as we embark on that very strategic discussion about the budget in 2025, to have people who already have a baseline understanding of the budget. And so I already ran into that at one breakfast. There was a man, he said, well, last year you said you were imbalanced in 2025 for this, and now you say it's for that. I'm like, we're a quick study. This is not your first budget. So please come back next fall and winter as we have more to discuss. So I really value that.
So one thing that Mike really want to cover is the citizen survey. We're gonna utilize that this year too as a tool, which we haven't done.
Yeah,
in
no,
the past. And then as she mentioned, normally we start March with our first kind of, looking at it, and this year we're starting in December with the very intention of, we're gonna have $15 million deficit. So we want to hear from people, because really hard, I said at budget workshop, really hard decisions are gonna have to be made. So we're bumping the process up 4 months so that we can get more community engagement.
I just don't want people to feel like this is so complicated and over their head that we can't make everyone understand it and be engaged.
We're trying.
It is complicated, and what the public doesn't understand is that the city may have $500 million to spend this year. They can't spend it the way the public wants to spend. It sets its priorities based on its dollars. It's not that everybody doesn't share those dollars. But the source of the dollars to be spent is almost always constrained. You can't spend this dollar necessarily on this expenditure. You can only spend it on this expenditure. There are so many statutory restrictions on how the city can spend its money. And that while it looks like one big pile of money, and we as citizens can help them understand what our values and priorities are, and then they go spend it that way, it's just not the case. They cannot do that. State statute, not statutes, many laws prohibit that. They can only spend certain revenues on certain things. So it is very important to understand what revenues can go where. And it'll give you a much better idea as to what the council's great dilemma is, because they may have enough money, they just can't spend it the way you and they would always like to spend it.
So I'll give an example, I think, and then we'll move on. I'm sorry, but North Junction, East California expansion, and K96 expansion is $1 billion worth of infrastructure. And then we have the water treatment plant and the sewage treatment plant, that's another $1 billion, so $2 billion worth of infrastructure. And people are saying, how can you have a $15 million budget deficit? We're doing all this building. All of that money is coming from the Fed and the state.
Yeah.
So we couldn't change the way it's being said, so. Reach out anytime, anybody else?
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah, and yeah, send your questions to Corey or Corey Junior. So,
Is there such a thing as a Wichita City Budget 101 class?
there kind of is, the Civic Engagement Academy is a place where that happens, so. But no, that's a good idea, I mean, the feedback about what you, as DAB members, you've been exposed to the budget, right?
Right.
And so if you want to bring people along the process or deepen your understanding, I would be happy to have ideas about how we would do that this fall and winter. Does that make sense? So definitely pass those along, because nothing's good ideas. And this is, people are like, oh, you've got it figured out. I'm like, no, don't have it figured out.
I've had council members tell me that they have no idea.
Yeah,
Themselves.
yeah, right,
So,
and they're politicians, you just always have the answer.
Not this council member, but in the past.
Yeah, no, so, those kind of ideas, I'm happy to have you all along with it. It makes it better. So, thanks for having me, best of luck with the rest of your meetings, and, one time I came to the Civic Engagement Academy, and someone out in the library was like, I really like watching you on YouTube. So, watching like these budget meetings, so, people watch them. So you can be part of those people, come watch the budget meetings on YouTube, so. There's too many. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
All right, next on new business, Christina, get ready. We have zoning case 2023-00017.
I'm just gonna check outside, I could be at the Asian.
I found Garver, yep.
Oh, no, he's right here, just kidding. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Christina Reith. I'm an associate planner with the Metropolitan Area Planning Department. This is case number zone 2023-00017. The applicant is requesting a zone change from SF5 single family residential to LI limited industrial district to allow the Colonel James Jabbar Airport to be extended north. Subject site is approximately 199 acres in size, and it's located at 4444 and 4700 North Webb Road. Both of those properties are located in the city of Wichita and are owned by the Wichita Airport Authority. So if you take a look at the surrounding area, it's generally characterized by industrial properties supporting these airport operations, along with some undeveloped land and low to moderate density residential uses. North of the subject site is agricultural property. I believe that's in Sedgwick County, and it's zoned RR Rural Residential District. Abutting the site to the south is the airport, which is zoned limited industrial district. Properties west of the north portion site are in the city of Bel Air and are undeveloped industrial properties. And then east of the south property is undeveloped land zone RR Rural Residential District. To its west is property zoned SF5 single family residential and TF3 two-family residential districts. They're developed with residential. There have been no zoning cases previously filed with this property. The proposed zone change is in conformance with the community investments plan. Because if you take a look at the 2035 Wichita Future Growth concept map, they identify the site to be appropriate for agricultural, residential, and new employment category. So if you look at the details of the new employment category in the concept comprehensive plan, it'll explain why this is an appropriate site. And then if you look at the locational guidelines of the community investments plan, the development pattern element of these guidelines recommends practices which support the expansion of existing uses to adjacent areas. So what they're doing is they're expanding airport operations. Based upon the information available at the time the staff report is prepared, staff is recommending approval of this request. The recommendation is based on the following findings that we call the golden rules. It's the same ones that you'll see in every report that we write. I just will point out the last one, at the time of publication of the staff report, staff has not received any public comments regarding this case. I touched base with, and I received them. Okay, sounds good. And then I touched base with Erin, my colleague, who's the one who wrote the report. She still hasn't received any public comment on the matter. And with that, I will stand for questions, and if not, the agent for the applicant will be able to answer them.
Any questions from district advisory board members?
Expand the runways or.
Good evening. My name is Will Clevenger with Garver Land Surveyor, and they don't have a specific design yet, but the intention is yes to expand the runway and taxiways for more development, and also hangars and other aircraft facilities.
Is that so we can accommodate a 747 when it lands in the runway? Eating up the runway?
Any other questions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Public comment. Is anyone from the public wanted to speak on this item? Thank you. Okay, so Faith has made a motion, Sam has second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? The motion passes
I do have a
unanimously. And we do
question.
have a quorum.
So if the airport authority already owns the land, it doesn't mean it's zoned the way they want it to be. That's what I'm getting from this. They still have to change zoning.
Yeah, it's all issues done.
Okay.
And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 people?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to put it out.
Yeah, we have 8.
Okay.
All right, so next item is use 2023-00010. Christine James. And I'm just gonna take a pause for a second, so everybody knows how this is gonna go. Christine is gonna make a presentation, and then we'll have comment from the district advisory board and the district advisory board online. And then we'll have an opportunity. Yes, okay, we'll have an opportunity for the applicant to make comments, and then staff members can ask questions of the applicant. And then anybody who wants to speak on this topic can have 3 minutes. Could you be our time? Mr. Hinton? Thank you, I appreciate it. And we'll ask, since there's so many people, if you were saying the same thing somebody else is gonna say, and maybe, just let us, if we've heard it once, that's usually helpful. But everybody will have 3 minutes, and then we'll bring the discussion back to the district advisory board members and then. So that's a little bit of how the process is gonna work. So we'll let Christine kick it off.
All right, so the applicant in this case is requesting a conditional use for a group residence limited on property zone SF5, single family residential district. This property is located at 7,000 East Stonegate Lane. According to the applicant's website, Ivy Foundation operates sober home living facilities, and that's similar to a group home. So by right in single family residential district, they're allowed up to 8 persons who are not related by blood or marriage to occupy residence, plus 2 staff members. So the conditional use for group residence limited would allow up to 15 persons, including 2 staff. So, and then I'm gonna skip down here to the site plan paragraph. I do mention how they require an administrative adjustment or a variance for the parking requirements. They have submitted an administrative adjustment to allow parking to be within the front setback as long as it's not within 8 feet of the property line. So that'll, so in terms of the site plan, there's gonna be up to 6 cars on this property. So there's gonna be 3 within the front garage, 3 on the driveway. The subject site is located in the interior portion of the neighborhood. Properties to the northwest, south, and east are zoned single-family residential district and are developed with single-family dwellings. It is planning staff's opinion that the requested conditional use for this particular location may have detrimental impacts on the surrounding properties due to an increase in traffic and an increase in parking requirements, which are out of character with the neighborhood. There's no zoning cases associated with this property. The conditional use request is in conformance with the community investments plan. In partial conformance, sorry. If you look at the 2035 Wichita Future Growth Concept Map, it identifies the site as residential. And then it's defined in the plan as what reflects the full diversity of residential development densities and types typically found in an urban municipality. The requested conditional use is not in conformance with the comprehensive plan's land use compatibility locational guidelines. The general guidelines state that higher intensity development should be discouraged from locating in areas of lower intensity development, particularly established low density residential areas. So this group residence limited is allowing up to 15 persons, including staff members, in the interior of a single family residential neighborhood. The scale of this residential use is out of character with our existing surrounding uses. The number of residents who could drive versus the number of on-site parking requirements may be detrimental to the character of the neighborhood. And we also looked at the opportunity for transit. It's doable, but it's about like half a mile from, the subject site. And so that's something that we also took into consideration. The requested conditional use is in partial conformance with the goals of the Wichita Places for People plan. One of their strategies is strategy 5, provide a diversity of housing options to attract new residents and allow existing residents to remain in the established central area. However, this scale of development is out of character with the neighborhood. Based on the information available prior to public hearing, planning staff recommends that the application be denied. And this is based on the golden rules that I mentioned earlier, but I'll go through these. When you look at the zoning uses and character of the neighborhood, it is planning staff's opinion that the requested conditional use for this particular location may have detrimental impacts on the surrounding properties due to an increase in traffic and an increase in parking requirements, which are out of character of the neighborhood. Skipping down to number 3 here, extent to which the removal of restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby property. It is staff's opinion that it can have detrimental impacts to the character of the neighborhood, such as increased traffic and a negative impact on the aesthetics of the neighborhood due to increased parking requirements. Skipping down to number 6 here, relative gains to public health, safety, and welfare compared to the loss of value and hardship imposed upon the applicant. So if this request is approved, it could have detrimental impacts on the surrounding residents, such as increased traffic. However, if it is denied, it could be regarded as a loss of economic opportunity and enjoyment for the applicant. Skipping down to number 8, at the time the staff report was prepared, staff received several comments in opposition to the proposed conditional use via telephone and email. So the written comments that we received at the time the staff report was prepared is attached to this packet. I have received more. Those have been forwarded to the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and to Corey here. So should the DAB or the MAPC find conditional use be approved, it is recommended that you adopt alternative findings supporting their recommendation. So staff recommends the following conditions, although you're welcome to come up with your own. One, the conditional use of approval is limited to a maximum of 15 persons, including staff members. Two, revised site plan shall be submitted illustrating that the parking requirement is in compliance with the Unified Zoning Code. No sign shall be allowed except those permitted under the city sign code. The site shall be developed and operated in compliance with all federal, state, and local rules and regulations. And then number 5, if the zoning administrator finds that there is a violation of any of these conditions within the conditional use, he may, with the planning director, declare that conditional use null and void. And did we want to go through the site plan here, the pictures, or we just good for questions? I'm sure you all know what the neighborhood looks like, so I'm not sure if we need to go through photos here. Yes.
Right now, it's a group home already,
Yes.
but it's limited to how many people?
Up to 8 people who are not related by blood or marriage, and then 2 staff members.
Okay. Are you aware, are there any complaints from the neighborhood about any noise or use of that home like that?
I have received emails that, are you talking about the current property or just any other?
As it is, and right in this one spot?
I have received comments from the public that have indicated that they have had complaints regarding this property, but group home is permitted by right in single family residential district.
Okay, all right. So what we have is perfectly legal,
Yes,
and there has been some complaints, but apparently it's not disastrous.
not to my knowledge. I don't know if I should answer that.
Okay, my second question is, what kind of people do we house here? Are they criminals? Or are they mentally ill? What's the situation?
So my understanding is that this operates as a sober living home, so this is for people who want to live sober.
Would you like me to answer that question or no?
Well,
She's the applicant.
yes, please.
Okay, so the residents, this specific home is a women's home. Every applicant is clean and sober, meaning that they have had addiction to drugs or alcohol and they are in recovery. And if desired, I could explain my operations and how I maintain that, but yeah.
Are you part of the Wichita Children's Home or?
No,
part of another
every
ministry?
applicant is 18 years and up. And what was your other question?
Are you involved with a nonprofit of some kind, or are you your own?
So the nonprofit is Ivy Home Foundation. It is not faith-based. I am a faith person, but the foundation is intentionally not.
Thank you.
Did say it, use is allowed by right.
So group home is allowed by right in SFI single family zones, which allows up to 8 people. who are not related by blood.
That's up to 8 people plus
So
staff.
public comment is actually bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
you're okay, we got you.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a question or a statement from your dad or from me, but actually there's a sober living home a block from me, and we went through this 3 years ago. And they have been fantastic neighbors. It's also a women's sober living home. And they are, it's great to never hear a peep. We don't even know that they're there. If you didn't know it was a group home, you wouldn't know it was a group home. Now, this is not 15 people, this is 8, but I felt like I had to say something about it because there was so much concern about drug addicts in our neighborhood, and they are sober living group homes. So I wanted to say that because people that go through these programs are not homeless and they're not on the street doing drugs. So, I mean, I'm always gonna advocate for things that move people into a better situation. And I think it's important to hear from the applicant, why they need to go from 8 to 15. Why are you asking for this?
So Wichita is entering a crisis. of drug addiction. And you can read about it weekly, the number of deaths of fentanyl. We also are having a crisis of housing. The home is more than 3,000 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. And personal opinion, but also this isn't a whim, I researched and traveled to other cities operating homes similar to mine. And I'm following the program out of, it's not a program, but providers out of Seattle. I do not want us to become Seattle, by the way, but a successful provider out of Seattle. And their homes are about 2,000 square feet and they house 8 to 10 people. The number of applicants I have for my home is greater than I can provide. If you keep tabs on what Cole Schneiders is doing in COC, there are, the wait list right now for HUD vouchers is about a 2-year wait list. And even and those are qualified applicants. And the number of people who have received Section 8 vouchers and cannot use them, I don't know the number, it's extremely high. So I actually am able to accept those vouchers. I am not a short-term housing provider. As long as someone follows the rules of my homes, you are allowed to live there for as long as you would like. Yeah, so I am asking for more, because the house can support that. It's 2 people to a room and sharing 3 bathrooms. It's, yeah, an extremely supportive group. Did that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Is this the only location you
No,
have?
I have 2. I have a men's home and a women's home. But typically, most of these homes are about 1,600 square feet, and they usually have in Wichita, and they house between 12 and 15 people. Even if you don't know it, that's usually how many are in them. And the ones most people know of are Oxford or Hemingway. That's what people most closely associate with it. That's not what I am. I am allowed to exist because of the Fair Housing Act of 1966 and 1988. But all of Wichita's sober homes, Oxford homes, Hemingway homes, they are full, completely full, and they are couching. That's not something I do, but that's the situation that they're in. They're completely full. Yes.
Can you give us some idea of how many applicants you turned down in a year?
I opened in January.
Okay, so since you opened,
Since I opened, so there's applicants I turned down because they're not qualified. And I don't have a number for you. I'm sorry. I couldn't separate the ones who aren't qualified for my homes versus,
good have, but you didn't have room.
yeah.
Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you for doing what you do. We need more of you. We appreciate it.
Any other questions for Christina? And remember, as with all zoning cases, we have to think about what is the best use of the land, right? So.
Yeah, I do want to ask about the conditional use approved. So MAPC is saying that even though they denied it, if these 5.
So it hasn't gone to MAPC yet, it's going to MAPC on
I'm
Staff
sorry.
denied. Staff
Staff
denied.
denied, and it hasn't been to MAPC yet.
And does it go Thursday, right?
It goes on Thursday.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I appreciate it, thank you. I just want to clarify that.
No, that's a good comment. Anything else for Christina and Roman and Jennifer and Alicia? If you have anything, just let us know. We're watching for you. Okay, seeing no more questions for Christina, we're going to turn to the public comment. Tim's gonna be our awesome timer. So if you would like to speak for up to 3 minutes, you can. We just ask that you come up here and for the record, if you would state your name and your address loud enough so that Corey, our awesome note taker, one more time, can hear. And whoever wants to come on up first and let us know what you think.
Before we start, if we have a podium moved out, I think it just makes people more comfortable to have somebody.
Yeah, if you want to use the podium, I can move that out there.
Yes, I think that would be helpful.
It's been a long time since I've talked at a podium. My wife and I do have some slides as well. I have them ready. Thank you. All right, I'll start off for the citizens. My name is Jeff Poe. I live at 6913 East Stonegate with my wife and my 2 young children. We live catty-corner to the residents in consideration for the conditional use permit today. I'd like to start by thanking the District Advisory Board for taking into consideration all that myself and my fellow neighbors have to say in objection to 7,000 East Stonegate being granted 15 individuals to 1 household. My wife and I moved our family to the home to be part of a single-family neighborhood that was well established. While we know there are instances of renters and group homes that are allowed in single-family 5 zoning areas, we're not unaware of anything like that. We are at the point where we never expected something like a recovery residence to be moved in across the street when we moved in last year. We'll move on to slide 2. A little history before I dive into the NAR, the National Association of Recovery Residence Guidelines. My wife and I became aware of this residence being used as something different than a single family home when it was first bought back in September of 2022. You can see a timeline in the presentation in front of you. All of this is done with little to no communication to the surrounding residents. And that's not without us trying to voice our concerns. This amount of change has been detrimental to the relationship between the foundation and the residents, just due to the fact we felt like we've been kept in the dark with a lot of things going on. The lack of transparency and communication makes it very difficult for the neighborhood to support this recovery residence. Slide 3. I'm in agreement that Wichita does have a housing problem. My current profession puts me frontline and center with that problem, as well as the rise in addiction and overdoses. The costs have risen and continue to rise for everyone in the city, including everyone in the Rockhurst neighborhood. These high costs make it hard for anyone, including those that are recovering, to find affordable housing. And I understand the effort of those trying to help rectify this, but the amount of gray area that is currently out there about solutions such as group residences needs to be addressed and brought forward prior to granting the conditional use permit. I personally don't believe that putting 15 people in one house is a good solution to this problem. Slide 4. There's a lot covered in the NAR guidelines that we are led to be assumed that are being abided by. Fine. No, you're fine.
Are you close to being done?
I'm at a point where I can wrap up. My wife's gonna continue on with
Okay.
pretty much.
Do you want to make any closing thoughts or?
No, I think I'll let her finish and then
Mine?
she'll have a space.
Do you want to go to slide 5? Will you please state your name and your address?
Yes. So my name is Monica Poe. I'm Jeff's wife. I live at 6913 East Stonegate. I plan to discuss more of the NAR guidelines that my husband introduced, that Ivy Homes Foundation states on the website, is they're going to follow. So in slide 5, in regards to the zoning of the home, it was built for a single family. The main intent being on what was previously a quiet street, and when we talk about neighborhood disturbance, it has been double, if not triple, the traffic on the street already. But on this slide, you will see the submitted site plan that says that cars are being parked in the garage and on the driveway. I know other fellow residents or neighbors are covering that, so I won't go over that. But it also states that there's gonna be no anticipated modifications to the existing structure, where you can go to slide 6. With this, the master is listed at being 14 by 13, which is considered the largest room in a single family house. And that can fit 3 people that we regard as the north guidelines that state that there has to be 50 square foot per bed, or per bed per sleeping room. Well, at 15 in a 5-bedroom house, you're gonna fit 3 people per room, not 2. So only the master is gonna be able to accommodate that 15. And then slide 7, that covers that part there. If you wanna go on to slide 8, you know, is it possible to really fit 15 people in the home without making modifications to the current structure? This last slide, Christine already covered it a little bit, but this is a screenshot of the neighborhood scores of Rockhurst. Neighborhood features are a large factor in what's best for the residents that'll be in a recovery home. We've done a lot of research on this, trying to understand how we can also be great neighbors in this, but the walk score is low, the transit score is low, the bike score is low. All these indicate that the residents in the neighborhood are gonna need a car. And with 15 residents, I don't know how we're gonna fit 15 cars there. The 6 maybe will fit, yes, it will be consistently congested, but you'll fit. 15, I don't see that happening. We've already seen parking's congested, limited, and while ride sharing and taxis are another option, they're also just gonna create more traffic on what was previously quiet neighborhood streets. So from NAR directly, recovery residents are guided by the NAR standards that establish best practices for maintaining the safety and health of the residents, the local neighborhood, and the larger community. Is this conditional use permit truly what is best to maintain the health and safety of the residents and for the Rockhurst neighborhood? We confidently don't believe so. Thank you.
Next.
Behave very good. I'm Abby Garland and I live at 6916 East Stonegate, so I am right next door to the west of 7000 East Stonegate. And I do oppose the development application to have more residents in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is a very active one with people out walking and our children playing. We also have additional foot traffic from the kids walking to and from Coleman Middle School. A lot of them cut through our street instead of going around to 13th. The sidewalks are already currently uneven and a hazard, which causes people to walk in the street and our children to ride their bikes and scooters up and down the street. And with the potential for more residents parking on the street, it will increase the risk and reduce the sight lines to our children. The site plan refers to 6 proposed parking spaces. However, there have been multiple occasions where those 6 parking spaces have not been utilized with the 10 allowed residents. It doesn't appear that the garage is being utilized. Instead, it's double parking on the driveway, which is blocking the sidewalks. With the increase in proposed residents, I worry that not only will the sidewalks be blocked, but there will be multiple cars on the street. The streets in front of 7000 Stonegate and throughout the neighborhood have experienced failures. Potholes have been filled by the city multiple times due to the existing traffic that our street sees from our current residents and also the Golden Boomers home. At the end of our street, that's a medical facility home with multiple staff and families coming and going pretty frequently. If the number of residents continues to increase, the city of Wichita would have to increase resources to maintain the street. And then finally, I just want to say that I'm concerned for the safety of my children playing outside. I'm also concerned about the lack of communication. I would like to be providing more information about what is happening in my neighborhood and specifically next door to me. If there's an issue, not sure who I call besides the police, and I don't know that that's a good utilization of the police every time an issue arises.
Thank you. Next, Christina and Parker BS7, which is still a corner.
Okay.
Somebody had to step up.
Okay.
My name is Dennis Murphy. I live with my wife Teresa at 7006 East Stonegate Street, which is the house immediately to the east of the property in question. We've lived there since 1990, raised our children, and try to live in harmony with our neighbors. When the house at 7000 East Stonegate sold, I saw people moving in, and I walked over, said hello, and welcomed them to the neighborhood. At the time, I met Ivory Kaufman, who at the time told me she was a realtor and had purchased a house with the intent of either reselling or moving in herself. Soon after, some young women moved into the property, and I assume they were renters, whenever we were outside, we exchanged pleasantries. It then came as a considerable shock when I received a letter from the Wichita Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Department informing me that Ms. Kaufman had petitioned the city to allow as many as 15 people to reside in the home at the same time. I made a phone call to Christina Reith, who was very pleasant to talk to, I want to add. And she explained the situation to me. And what I learned from her, though, left me wondering, what is the purpose of Ms. Kaufman's petition? I spoke with some of my neighbors and was also surprised to learn that only a few of them had been notified of the petition and public meeting. This was because the policy dictates that only those people within a 200-foot radius of the property in question are to be notified. Pretty soon, though, all the neighbors began talking. I need to explain to you that the Stonegate Timberon homes have a long tradition of being close-knit community. Something that affects one resident is likely to affect us all. For example, at the corner of Stonegate and Lawrence Lane, a decades-old zoning ruling allowed a business to open as a assisted living group home in 2019. Vehicles parking on both sides of Stonegate and Lawrence Lane passage difficult and obstruct visibility. This impacts the entire neighborhood. Getting back to the issue at hand, it seems that 7,000 East Stonegate is to be a sort of transition home for women trying to recover from alcohol drug dependence. This sounds like a worthy purpose. Currently, the best one can determine is that the number of residents is still small. The number of vehicles parked at or around the property changes constantly. Even so, within the past month, police have responded twice to mental health incidents and have escorted at least one woman off the property. I sincerely believe that if Ms. Kaufman were permitted to cram 15 women, all strangers dealing with the stresses of addiction recovery, into a single-family housing unit, will begin for serious problems. Corrupting is unavoidable, to say nothing of the safety issues. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Who would like to speak next?
Hello, my name is Steve Taves, and I live at 7001 East Stonegate. Property is right across the street from my house. 3 items. First, lack of communication. Last November, I emailed the owner applicant. I quote, "My purpose in stopping by the house was simply to encourage an increase of communication with the neighborhood. At present, it appears the neighborhood has not received adequate information about these and other facets of your endeavor. To my knowledge, no written communication or list of FAQs has been distributed. Communication in print assures that everyone receives the same information. Transparent and forthright communication increases probability of a spirit of goodwill in the neighborhood." End quote. As near as I can tell, the spirit of that email has been ignored. It would have seemed a common courtesy to inform neighbors in advance of this meeting that application was being made to increase occupancy to 15. I assume communication from the owner applicant to the neighborhood will be as lacking in the future as it has been in the past. Second item, traffic and parking, which has increased. It's already been addressed. Children play, police park in front of my house. Third, compassion. It is possible someone might respond to our concerns by saying, "Oh, the neighborhoods don't want to help needy people." This is not so. I was pastor at First Baptist Church downtown Wichita, 2nd Broadway. We fed 150 to 200 people every week, breakfast. Every Sunday from 2010 to 20, I mingled with homeless, recovering addicts, mental health sufferers, physical and sexual abuse victims, recent inmates, and so on. With 6 to 8 sober living residents currently allowed, our great neighborhood may have opportunity to positively impact the residents of Ivy Home. With 15 residents, Ivy Home will almost certainly have a negative impact on our great neighborhood. Greater density of occupancy increases tension. When 12 to 15 recovering adults share a single-family residence, peace and harmony is not the atmosphere that comes to my mind. I ask for denial. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Felix, thanks. Welcome.
Good evening, I'm Michael Dangston. I live at 7017 East Stonegate Street. So my wife, Amy, and I, we moved back to Wichita 28 years ago from Houston. We lived in a neighborhood in Houston where we pulled out of our neighborhood on 6 lanes of traffic. So when we moved back here, back to town, we had died and gone to heaven because we lived in such a wonderful, quiet neighborhood. So we've been here 28 years. I was telling Randy a minute ago that 28 years ago, we were the new people. Now we're the old people in the neighborhood. We've got a lot of wonderful young families. But I would like to speak and address to the issue of the traffic along Stonegate and Timber Rock. There's a group home, as you've heard, at the corner of Stonegate and Lawrence Lane. The owners of the home keep a small bus in the driveway that is, the garage is now a bedroom, so nothing will park in the garage, it's just out in the driveway. And so it does obscure the view for people trying to turn onto Lawrence Lane. We have a lot of traffic in our neighborhood due to schools being nearby. We have Coleman Middle School and we have St. Thomas. And so there's foot traffic through the neighborhood. There's also some car traffic through the neighborhood. Oftentimes people are turning into our neighborhood that think it's a through street and they realize it's not. It's a U-shaped street. And so they just got it because they're frustrated. Oh my goodness, I'm in the wrong place. And so with all of the additional cars that are in the neighborhood, it not only creates more traffic and more potential for people to be hit or cars to be hit. So we have children that are playing in the neighborhood, and which is wonderful to see. Parents are always out there with the kids, but they're riding bikes. We have a lot of people that are walking. The great thing about our neighborhood is that we know our neighbors. And so if you drive through the neighborhood, you're often going to see our neighbors chatting with each other. We honestly believe that this is going to be a negative impact for our neighborhood because of the traffic between the group home that's already there and the group home that's being proposed. We just feel that this is going to become a parking lot with all the additional cars that are in place. But thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to speak next?
Good evening. I am Sharon Perez at 6902 Timber Run. My husband Mike and I moved here in June of 2001 with our 3 children who were in middle grade school at the time. They are grown now, and we now have an 18-month-old grandson who also comes to visit. Ivy Homes website states that we rent beds. We are a housing provider only. The residents sign a contract to remain sober, clean, support the recovery of other members, and to live in peace and harmony, and to share household duties. This residence is 3,043 square feet, according to Zillow. And from Urban Phoenix, it is quoted that the average person requires 200 to 400 square feet of living space. With 15 people there, that would be 202 square feet. And with 10 people, that's 303 square feet. This is not personal space. They share bedrooms, bathrooms, and the entire living space. I am a retired RN. I've worked in a local hospital for over 25 years. In the beginning of my career, it was not unusual to have 2 to 3 patients in a room. Now, they have decided and shown that these patients need, and they do have, their own private room for their personal care and their personal space. Who is there to qualify and be qualified to assist the 5 to 15 residents in recovery to meet the requirement contracts? According to Ivy Homes, residents must have someone overseeing them to monitor the residents' progress. These residents are strangers to one another. They are dealing with their own personal issues. A group support system can and should be beneficial, yet is it available in this setting? How is this done, sharing a bedroom and all the living space in this large group setting? The large group has a very high chance of forming cliques, leading to some members feeling left out, increasing the risk of conflict, and perhaps leading others to break the contract rules. Presently, the police have been called out twice in the month of April, according to our community police officer. Thus, the manageability of current residents is in question, let alone the proposed 15. We all have stresses in our lives. The residents have the same stresses in addition to what they are carrying in their recovery process. The residents need structure and compliance to the contract. Is this a fair and just environment to place them in, expecting success? This is a business in our neighborhood, seeking to expand beyond what it was initially zoned for, bringing negative ramifications to our neighborhood and an injustice to the residents of 7,000 Stonegate. We are looking for care, safety, and concern of these residents and the staff in the neighborhood. And is this expansion going to allow that? Ivy Homes are in the business of being a landlord, renting only the beds to the residents. The renters are not here with the intent or capability to remain long-term and connect as a neighbor as a result of the business.
Your time is up. If you want to just make a closing comment.
Yes, I was just going to say, we all need to live in peace and harmony. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Next. Welcome.
My name is Mark Thompson. I live at 7008 Tiburon with my wife and son. We have lived at the 7008 for the last 27 years. I oppose the requested change in zoning at 7000 Stonegate due to the likely negative effect it will have on the property values of my home and my neighbors' homes on Stonegate, Tiburon. Additionally, the increase in the number of residents at 7000 Stonegate will likely result in an undesirable increase in automobile traffic disproportionate to the available roadway and parking, which is designed for single-family homes, not a business with 15 residents. The requested expansion of the business may lead to the current families, especially those with small children, in the neighborhood to leave and find a neighborhood where there are only single-family homes, which is what they had when we moved. But we are.
Thank you. Who's next?
Want to correct it, you didn't ask any of the speakers what their favorite thing about. My grandchildren.
Oh, thank you. You are awesome.
My name is Randy Wells. I live at 7003 Timborough, backdoor neighbor to the house in question. You said not to talk about a lot of stuff that's been. And so I want to talk about safety. As a 36-year retired law enforcement.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. That it concerns me greatly that we had 3 patrol cars. And she's only been operational 2 months, seriously. And we've had 2 mental incidents there. Is on her staff, who does she have? Who's trained for conflict resolution? Instead of my buddy over here, Thomas, and his guys, what do they have on staff? Because right now, we're 70 officers short, and that's significant. And there's open beats, and an incident like that that could be handled by a professional versus calling Thomas and his friends. I think we need to think about that very seriously. I know EMS, fire, and police make many calls to the Boomers residents. So the impact upon public safety is significant. And so I just want to emphasize that people in that home, when you got 15, there's going to be disturbances, there's going to be problems, there's going to be incidents that can be handled in-house, and then those that the police will call. And I think the police will be coming frequently. I mean, my wife and I are against this proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Next.
Hello, I'm the wife. My name is Carol Wells, and I reside with my husband Randy Wells at 7003 East Timberon Lane. I'm retired with more than 38 years of banking experience, which you'll understand why I mention that now. I have specific concerns to share regarding trust and drug trafficking. Trust first. Today, I learned that the mortgage lender, Community National Bank and Trust of Emporia, Kansas, has not been notified by the mortgage borrower, Ivy Homes LLC, that a conditional use request for Group Residence Limited has been submitted by Ivy Home Foundation for the bank's secured property at the 7000 East Stonegate property, as well as the other bank's secured property at 6227 East 17th Street North, which she just mentioned earlier this evening. The mortgage agreement clearly states on page 3, item 13, and I'm only quoting the part that I feel like I need to submit here tonight. Mortgager, which is the borrower, agrees that the nature of the occupancy and use will not substantially change without lender's prior written consent. The mortgager will not permit any change in any license, restricted covenant, or easement without the lender's prior written consent. The bank does not know about this from what I have learned. This is an alarming concern. The face of Ivy Homes LLC, Ivy Home Foundation, and Ivy Management LLC is Ms. Kaufman. Ivory Kaufman. All those who have spoken tonight about lack of direct personal communication and accountability with Ms. Kaufman had previously shared this information with me and my husband. This past Friday, May 5th, a development application for increasing parking was posted finally on the property. The property is already in gross violation of compliance with current regulations for parking. Why should anyone believe that compliance is a reasonable expectation? Since we received this hearing notice, the website and Facebook postings by Ms. Kaufman have changed multiple times, indicating that transparency is not, and will not be forthcoming by Ms. Kaufman. Second concern, drug trafficking. This property is being described as a sober living group for unrelated adult women in addiction recovery. Realistically, does anyone believe that our neighborhood will not be exposed at risk to unwelcomed people, including residents relaxing and non-residents and their visitors that may supply illegal, non-prescribed drugs and alcohol? This is not what we want for our children that are in the neighborhood and our visitors, and the Coleman Middle School students passing through 9 months out of the year be exposed to. As it currently stands, Our Stonegate Timber neighborhood has no voice to stop the current law that allows group homes, which is defined as up to 10 maximum unrelated residents, 8 maximum with a disability, and 2 maximum staff. Please do not burden our neighborhood with even more challenges of up to 15 non-related residents. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Who's next? Is there anyone else who wants to speak this evening? Did you had a question, sorry, I forgot about you. Did you?
I can ask the question, but I don't, I was just actually wondering how often the individual.
Weekly.
Weekly?
They're random, or more if they go out for house visits overnight. But that's part of operations.
So any other comments from the public? Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. I know it's late. I know you all have friends and family and, you know, things that you want to be, but it really does warm my heart that you care about your neighborhood and your community so much. Bring the discussion to the district advisory board, but I do need to pause. I'm sorry, I forgot. Does the applicant want to make comments? You have the opportunity maybe to as well. And if you'd like to go to the podium and just state your name and address for the record, you don't have to, but if you'd like to make comments, you have the opportunity to as well.
I provided my personal cell phone number.
Would you mind going to the bench? That way we make sure that we get you on camera so our folks who are joining online can see and hear. And if you'll just state your name and the
My
address.
name is Ivory Kaufman. I am the owner and operator of 7,000 East Stonegate. My favorite thing about Wichita is its families. When I purchased the home, I provided my cell phone number to many residents, my personal cell phone number. And I freely encourage people to contact me with any questions. There is no HOA or president, so there's not a single person that I can attempt to contact with updates. And there were numerous requests for information that went far beyond decent requests for information. Decent or reasonable requests. I have experienced threats and harassment from neighbors, people who I think consider themselves kind and reasonable. Yeah, and the one thing that would have been nice to hear for my residents tonight would have been welcome to the neighborhood. Because regardless of what the planning commission decides, I have 8 residents who will be remaining. As far as calling my lender, she called me immediately after that phone call. I am on great terms with my lender. They are aware, so my loan is not in question on either home. And she is the president of the bank. And there is no question about my loan on either home. The fact that I applied for this permit is actually part of what shows my standing as a business person. Because most people operating these homes in Kansas, it's actually considered one of the best places in the United States to open a sober living home because there are no licenses, requirements, or fees of any kind. You can open it, anyone can open it and operate it as they please in any way. And I have chosen to do so in a way that you heard about NAR in the presentation. The neighbors know about that because I gave them the information of NAR. I choose to operate my home by NAR standards, National Association of Recovery Residences. Kansas is not a member affiliate state. I choose to follow those standards. There is not a way to shut down a sober residence in Kansas that is poorly operated. In fact, one of my residents moving into the men's home said the residence he lives in at this moment has a condemned sign on the front door, and he's still living there as a resident. The landlord is taking his check. He's just managing to get things played out further. The landlord is playing things out further for different reasons. I think that covers most things. Oh, and as far as the amount of square footage, and when I applied for the permit, I applied for 15 because that was the standard conditional use permit for changing a home from 8 people to 15. It's not actually my intention to house 15 people. I would like to be able to house 12 people as a maximum. Yeah, and that is as a, one person will be on their way out and another one, I will have another approved applicant on their way in. And I applied for 15 because that was just a permit that was set before me. Oh, there was one other thing that came up in my head to address.
And if you can wrap up with your last thought.
Yeah, it was about the, I also found that I thought the house was in character with the neighborhood, that our home and the way we park and as everything gets moved out of the garage is in character with the neighborhood, since it has a what's called a home plus for retirees. I think this has garnered so much dislike because of who I house.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Okay, we're gonna bring the discussion back to the district advisory board. Jennifer and Alicia will be watching if you wanna say something, and I'm trying to catch when you text me and say you get kicked off or anything. Thoughts?
I'll start.
Okay.
First, I appreciate what you're doing for your residents, but you have to realize you moved into a neighborhood that these people have built their homes. They've got a lot of money invested there, their children and everything. You are changing the neighborhood. And yeah, you actually, to me, it's already too big. So I guess that's all I want to say. I like what, I think you're doing right, but you're not taking into consideration your neighbors. I think if you were sitting there and somebody else did that, you would feel just the way they do.
Thank you, Sam. Any other? Yes, John.
Based on the information I'm hearing from the neighbors of the neighborhood, nothing against the owner and operator of the home, I'd like to make a motion to deny approval for the consideration.
And keep in mind that there's a second, there still will be discussion on the motion. So is there a second?
I'll say.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So now is there discussion on the motion to deny?
Yes.
Yes, I would like to discuss.
Okay, so I think I heard Faith first.
Yeah, so.
And keep in mind with, and I'm sorry, Faith, not for you, but I should have said that this is looking at, is this the appropriate use of the link? Not the operation, whatever. Is
Correct.
this the appropriate use of the link?
So when it comes to housing in Wichita, I think everybody knows how I'm always going to vote, and I appreciate neighbors coming anytime there's civic engagement. My little heart is so happy, and I'm sorry that you had to sit for a long meeting, but sorry, not sorry. I love that you got to hear budgets, and I think it's great that you guys are here. So thank you for being at our meeting. This is most people we've had since last year. And I am listening to what you're saying, but when it comes to housing, anytime we get developers that want to increase housing opportunities in Wichita, I'm going to look at what it says, and if the CUP allows for us to increase housing opportunities, I'm always going to side with increasing housing opportunities. Because I listened to what your comments are, I wrote it down, but it seems like a lot of fear, not in my backyard. And even with calling the police are here to provide safety. And we should not be upset when the police come, whether it's for whatever. If the police come because someone called them, and we shouldn't be upset when the police come. So I just feel like fear and not in my backyard, and this isn't right for us. I'm hearing what you're saying, but there's a sober living down the street for me, and it was a lot of fear for nothing. And I understand what you're saying, but when it comes to increasing housing, we have a housing crisis in Wichita. So I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm always gonna vote yes for housing, and when it comes to the CUP, I'm gonna have to, I know there's a motion in a second, but I'll be voting no.
Thank you. Tim?
A couple of things. One, what you're endeavoring to do here is law. This community has determined over time that the use that this property is being put to at this point in time is an appropriate use in this neighborhood. What I've seen and heard here, however, is perhaps a lack of relationship between you and the applicant and the rest of the neighbors here. I am going to vote to deny this request in the hope that perhaps over time that relationship can improve in this neighborhood, can find a way to be supportive of increasing residency in this home, not to necessarily to that which is permitted as a maximum by the city, but I'd like to see some reasonable accommodation on the part of all parties. I am generally in favor of increased housing opportunities, but in this particular case, it's a stretch to allow 15 in this house. Perhaps we could have gotten a little further if we had better communication, deep, richer understanding on the part of all parties. So I would encourage you, it's difficult as it is, and I know it is, to reach out and encourage the rest of you to listen and see if perhaps there is common ground in the future.
Okay, I've experienced some bad homeowners in my past residence. And I'd just like to point out to you neighbors that at any point, at any time, someone could buy one of your houses and they could be a bad homeowner, including abuse, not taking care of the home, drugs, guns, and I've experienced all this just 2 houses down in a previous neighborhood. And we have a homeowners association in our area, and because of the city code, if somebody was going to buy one of our units and do a residence home, we cannot stop it. We have no power, even as a homeowners association, because it's allowed in the law. Also, I'd like to point out that at any time, a family with 13 kids could buy one of your homes. And you would have a perfectly legal, crowded home. Sure, that would be a little bit different nature, but I just wanted to point that out. Also, you could have somebody buy one of your homes that has multiple cars and crowds up your neighborhood, and it'd all be perfectly legal as long as they moved every once in a while. So with all that in consideration, and some of this you can't change and some you can, I'd just like to encourage you to embrace your new neighbors, become friends with them, and use your new neighbors to help educate your children and grandchildren and deliver meals and be helpful in one way or another. So I'm really conflicted about this vote. I don't know if it's legal for me to abstain, but that is my desire. But so,
Unless you have a personal connection to this, you cannot.
okay. Well, my heart is personally connected to both sides.
I know it's hard.
All right, I'll do the vote.
Okay, I just want to make sure, Jennifer and Alicia, if you want to take the opportunity to make any comments online, we're remembering that you're present and happy to hear anything you have to say. You don't have to, but just want to give you the opportunity since you're not here in person. Alicia.
I have no additional comments that haven't already been said. So thank you, other advisory board members.
Yes, thank you, Alicia.
Yep, I am the same. I've appreciated the discussion and I am all for, increasing housing and opportunities for people to receive, services that they need. I am conflicted on this vote though, with the increasing the number of occupants to 15. Seems like a lot for this neighborhood. So I appreciate all the discussion that has taken place this evening.
Thank you for your comments. This is kind of a challenging vote. And in case anybody's wondering, per state statute, I can't make a comment until it actually goes to city council. I'm not able to make comments here. If anybody here wants to contact me, I can listen to anything you have to say, including the applicant, but I cannot indicate which way I vote until we actually come to city council. So my not making comments is just to keep everybody in trouble, including me. So any other comments from the district advisory board? We have a motion to deny and we have a second to deny, a second to support the motion to deny. So I'm gonna call the vote. I'm guessing it's gonna be close. And so Corey, do you want people to do a personal vote to make sure we get it right? Or do you want to start with yay and nay?
Start there.
Okay, so all those in favor of denying the application for the change, would you please indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
So I see Sam, Tim, and John. All those in favor. So let me do this right. So.
I know, I
Yeah,
was
right.
saying-
Yeah, so all those opposing the motion, please say nay, right? Yeah.
Nay.
Nay.
Say agree. Okay, so let's do, Jennifer, I'm not sure if we got your vote. He's right, that's tied.
Jennifer, were you A or nay?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was a nay.
So you want to deny or you want to approve it? So make sure we understand.
I am denying the motion.
Okay, so you are in favor of it, right? Okay. So the motion to deny fails. So does that mean that Christina?
So then you would do another vote then.
I would make a motion to approve the CUP.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Make sure we do this exactly right, Tim. So now this is a motion and a second to approve.
I want to give you guys something to discuss.
You don't have to.
I just think you're overlooking the neighbors that live there forever. It's not gonna help them at all, I'm sorry. You're helping one family. I mean, this is one business, this is
One business.
this is their property value gonna go down.
We don't know that.
Well, you don't.
Yeah, but we
But
vote
can
on
you say
things,
anything positive that'll happen in the neighborhood?
we vote on things all the time that are for one business.
Well,
We vote on things
you know
all
how
the
I feel
time.
about it, I'm
Because
sorry.
we have to look at what's in front of us, and I did say that this is conditional. Remember, if there's any violation of any of these conditions, they will lose this. So if the cars are not parked right, if there's more than one person, if the signage is wrong, if the site is out of compliance, and all of these people will be watching them like a hawk to
Well,
make
you want
sure
them to
any
be
of that
good,
isn't right.
you want them to be good neighbors, now you're telling them to turn in everything you see.
I think they already are.
They already have.
I'm saying that it's,
We have
I
to
would
keep
too.
the, let's keep the discussion.
I'm keeping the
civil
discussion
and
to
also
the
to the
CUP.
district advisory board.
So according to this, a conditional use would be approved if we approve the CUP, am I correct?
Yes, the CON, but yes.
Thank you, thank you, I don't want to use.
More than 15?
So this, won't this go to the planning board and then ultimately city
Because
council?
they have to also look at this, so I'm just saying, I would approve based on this. If the conditional use is part of that, then that would be the motion that I made based on this conditional use.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve, we have a second, we're in discussion. Yes.
So here's my conclusion.
Okay.
Let's keep the comments to the board, please. Keep the board is discussing right now, it's not time for public.
That's okay.
This is a laudable endeavor. I'm in support of this endeavor, but I do not think it's particularly good planning practice. There's a reason planning staff, many reasons, and they're articulated in this report, why it's not particularly good planning. It's different from what we've listened to all night, which is about value, all right? I don't mean property values, I mean personal and social values. From a planning perspective, and the people at this table know why I have that perspective. It's not particularly good plan. If we were expanding this to perhaps 10 people, I'm all over it, yes, support it. But we can't negotiate that tonight, all right? We can't negotiate a limit on the number of people with you tonight.
You can't, the other
We can
district one
express a
did.
preference.
No, district one did.
So we can make,
Negotiate a limit.
somebody could make a friend, tell me, Christina, and Cory, our parliamentarian, that if we make somebody were to make a friendly amendment to this amendment.
If I may speak,
Please.
you have the opportunity to modify the conditions of approval that are listed in the staff.
But right now we have a motion, so it would have to be a friendly amendment.
Can I withdraw then, because what I wrote down was 12.
You can withdraw your motion.
Okay, then I withdraw my motion, because what I intended was it to be 12 based on what the applicant said.
I make a motion to disapprove or to agree to.
So you want to do another motion to deny. So we have a motion to deny on the table. Is there a second?
To deny the,
As it is proposed.
With 12.
With
Deny.
15.
Oh, to deny it.
Yeah.
So this is,
So right now we have a motion to deny as proposed with what? With 15. As presented.
Correct.
Correct.
You
Is there a
can't
second?
change, you can't change the law, the ordinance of the number of people.
Christina's saying.
actually, the
You
planning
can't.
commission can set the conditions and they can't necessarily exceed the conditions set by the ordinance. But then the planning commission can say, instead of allowing 15, we will allow only 10 or only 12.
Correct. And the data do that as well. They do that.
But that's in the form of a recommendation, not a decision.
Correct. So John has made a motion to deny. Is there a second? Did you second?
I'm not changing, I don't, I did the.
Okay, so we have a motion and a
Deny.
second.
Okay, well then I make a motion.
No, no,
that-
no,
Oh,
no,
I thought you did the second.
He has a second.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you did the second, I apologize.
So we have a motion to deny and a second. We're gonna call the vote, so this will be to deny. So anyone in favor of denying, please indicate by saying aye. Who is opposed to denying, please say aye.
We are denying.
Yes.
I mean, we are opposed?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
So
opposed.
Jennifer and Alicia? What say you?
This is crazy.
Yes, I do oppose.
Okay, so the motion to deny failed, pardon me, fails again.
Then I will make a motion to approve with the maximum of 12.
And Christina, please tell us exactly how this needs to happen.
So you can vote to
to approve
With the
the,
recommendation of.
with the recommendation, the conditional use approval is limited to a maximum of 12 staff persons, or 12 persons, including staff and staff.
So 12, including staff.
Including staff.
Okay, so it'd be 10 residents, 2 staff.
You can put that in your conditions of approval.
So there's right now, and it would say they could have 10.
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay. So any discussion?
Yeah, I would just recommend to the neighbors that you guys, if this passes, to make sure that you go to the planning meeting, make sure that you go to the city council meeting. And I also suggest that you call Becky and talk to her about it.
And I'll give anybody myself whatever. I will tell you, the MAPC meeting, and if anybody needs directions or time, is Thursday at 1:30. You are welcome to come when this comes to city council, but we do not have public comment at city council because this is the opportunity and MAPC is the opportunity. So just don't want them to come and have to sit there and expect you to speak and not be able to. But of course, all are welcome. It's your city hall.
And I have my business card if anyone wants to contact me after this meeting.
Okay, thank you, Christina, you're being very helpful tonight, we appreciate it. You only have one extra on this, besides you. So we're still in discussion, we have a motion to approve with the recommendation that it be 10 residents, 2 staff, so up to 12. We have a second discussion.
I've been on these supervisory boards for 12 years now. And it is very, very frequent that the fear of the future and home values is brought up. And I'm not a psychic, but I'd just like to share that in that past neighborhood where I had a rundown house neighbor and a police weekly neighbor with gunshots, to my shock, I sold my house $50,000 more than I paid for it. So I'm not sure. And it's just my experience. I'm not sure this is real. They take care of the outside. I don't think this is really gonna hurt your homeowners values. But again, I'm not a psychic and I'm ready to vote.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, so we have a motion to approve with the recommendation of changing the number to 12 maximum, including staff. We have a second, we will call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, so the motion passes 5-2, which is a quorum.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you to everyone for being here. So the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission meeting is Thursday at 1:30. When you go out that door, there's a step down. And especially if it's getting dark outside, you're gonna step down, so be careful.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good job.
So wait, so we still have to
We're
have
still in.
no motion to adjourn, do I have a motion?
Almost.
Okay, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye Jennifer, bye Alicia.
Bye Jennifer, bye Alicia.
Thank you.
Thank you.